My final guest of the program is actress environmentalist Sigourney Weaver. She's best known for her award-winning career in films like Alien, Gorillas in the Mist, and Avatar. She's also a dedicated conservation activist, serving as honorary chair of the Deanne Fossey Gorilla Fund International and speaking about climate issues in front of both the UN General Assembly and the Democratic National Convention. We're thrilled to have her with us this afternoon. Sigourney Weaver, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bob, for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, actually, we've actually, 30 years ago, we were on the set of Dave together in a scene in Georgetown.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was in the background. I stayed in the background. I didn't want to steal the scene. So it's good to see you again. Since then, you've had a great career. And you've also been very involved in climate change. Tell me why you got involved in this issue.
Well, I think that, growing up in New York State, we've always had a very strong environmental heritage. The leaders of at the turn of the century protected the Hudson as the source of water for New York City. So, spending a lot of time in upstate, I participated in bond acts early on to protect that water. And one of the most exciting things going on right now, which I'd love to talk about, is the 30 by 30. 2022 is a great year. Right now, we have two big opportunities for the oceans. And as part of the America the Beautiful initiative, I'm sure you know that our plan is to protect 30% of our waters by 2030. And about 23% of those waters are protected now, but they're almost all in the Pacific. So by 2030, we hope to have included more waters on the rest of the continental US to really provide for the resiliency of the ocean around our continent. And then the other thing that's happening this year that I think is so exciting is there are two things happening globally, because yes, it's very important for us to really highly protect 30% of the waters around our country. And by that, I mean no human activity, no commercial fishing, no mining, no drilling. This will help the oceans rebound and the fish stocks rebound. And our hope is that this year we can expand that philosophy to include the rest of the earth, because this year the UN is going to bring up the High Seas Treaty. And the high seas are the high seas, and it's about 2/3 of our oceans. And they're like the Wild West. There's no oversight. And the High Seas Treaty, when it's brought up in the UN, will give every nation the opportunity to support some basic, oversight of these oceans so that we can keep our communal oceans healthy. And the other exciting thing is the International Global Diversity Conference in August, where we say we're going to protect 30% of our waters. And we also commit to trying to get other countries to commit to protecting 30% of their country's waters. And if we can succeed in these initiatives this year, it will make such a profound difference to our oceans. And in every way, we have bottom trawling, we have seabed mining, we have all kinds of things going on that are really bad for the oceans and aren't going to help the oceans rebound. And so this is a real opportunity to just say, all right, where can we protect the oceans and help them revive? It's to me, it's sort of 30% is doable, and it will make a huge difference. And so I just think it's something that I know the World Surf League is behind, and all kinds of other people you wouldn't imagine. So I think great to be on your show and spread the word about this, because there's a lot happening in this area now that is where there's a lot of progress and a lot of potential. And I
Sure.
think with climate, it's always so nice to find those hopeful things that are actually doable and that we can achieve.
There is a lot going on in this area, no doubt about it. And as I mentioned, you spoke at the 2016 Democratic Convention. Your candidate did not win then, but in 2020, Joe Biden won. And they won, Democrats won the
Yes.
House and the Senate, as you know. But they have not been able to pass the big sweeping climate bill. They did pass a transportation bill, but the climate bill. Have you been frustrated with that? Are you frustrated with Democrats like Joe Manchin that they haven't been able to do what they campaigned on?
You know, I think that we'll be able to get it done. I think there's so many things that people on both sides of the aisle can agree on, and every single region of our country is being impacted by the effects of climate change, whether it's drought or floods or tornadoes, fire. You know, this is not a partisan issue at all. And I know the oceans are a little more remote, but we all enjoy, we eat fish, we spend time by the ocean. I think that this is something that we can all find agreement on. And I think Joe Manchin can find it too. I think that, we'll pass whatever we can pass. Again, I think there's so much room for agreement. And Mother Earth is crying out. It's not as if we are agitating for this. Mother Earth is saying, help me, help me, help me. And it's very clear for all of us, no matter what our politics are. So I think it's any small thing we can do in our area and in our region is something I think that we should support.
We, not surprisingly, got a lot of questions from our audience, specifically for you. We do have one we picked from Taylor Austin, if we can roll that tape.
Hi, my name is Taylor Austin. I'm a film studies major from Connecticut College, and my question is for Sigourney Weaver. I'm wondering, how has your passion for environmentalism influenced the projects that you decide to take on as an actor? And how do you foresee the film industry moving toward a greener future?
That's such a great question. I really do try to find projects that express what I'm passionate about. We do have Avatar 2 coming out this year, which is, it is, as Avatar 1 was, it has a very strong environmental message. And in this case of Avatar 2, a lot of it takes place in the oceans. Jim Cameron has said that, so I'm not going to get in trouble. So I feel very fortunate as an actor that I get to work on projects that I feel hopefully will make a difference around the world. I think people in our business are very aware of the power that our medium has to bring people together and to find a consensus. And it's one of the great things about our business. So I'm hoping that, I think we take that quite seriously in the business. Without making serious movies, we can make movies that have a really strong underlying commitment to certain truths. And so I'm very excited about Avatar. That's coming out December 16th. And we've been working on that for a long time. That took 18 months of filming. So I hope you enjoy that, Taylor. And I am trying to walk the walk and talk the talk in my work as well as in my private life.
Well, we definitely look forward to Avatar 2, especially my kids. As far as the message on climate change, critics say, well, listen, we don't have to worry about this. It's down the road. What do you think are the keys to making a an effective message, which, as you know, is very important here in Washington, D.C., to move legislation. I know when you've talked about fixing the environment and saving the planet, you've been specific about farmers and ranchers. I've talked to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who's a big climate change champion, and he's talked about how it's changed the fishing industry. What do you think is the key in getting people to realize, no, you have to worry about this, not in 5, 10 years, but you need to worry about right now?
Well, again, I feel like every week some part of our country is in the throes of an impact from a storm or high temperatures, droughts, floods, that in a way that we haven't really seen before in the years before this decade. In the last 10 years, it's increased. And so I feel like, as I said, Mother Earth is sending a message to Congress and to all of us to just sort of wake up and do something about this while we still can. There's so much to be hopeful about. I feel like our businesses are moving very much toward green energy. The pandemic showed us the impact of having, incinerators and power plants and sewage waste treatments in these neighborhoods. It has a huge health impact. So I feel like we're all learning together about these things. And as we learn, people, grassroots, and certainly kids are saying, hey, Mom and Dad, let's do something about this. This is really happening. So I feel like the country, in a way, is ahead of Congress, and Congress needs to pay more attention to its constituents.
I know you mentioned this is a bipartisan issue because the climate affects Republicans and Democrats. I just talked to John Curtis, a Republican from the conservative state of Utah, and he wants Republicans talking about climate change. But do you think in these polarizing times, we have the midterms coming up and then 2024, I know you've been critical of President Trump, who at one point called climate change a hoax, but do you think that the parties can come together, especially a party that's headed, at least for now, by Donald Trump?
Well, I think that there's so much more we can find agreement on that has nothing to do with politics. So many of these Congress people they're hunters. They respect nature. They understand its incredibly healing value to people. The importance of Americans to have national parks to go to, have state parks, have local parks. So I think that as citizens, there's so much for us to share about the importance of nature and respecting it. And, I don't think we should allow getting bogged down in the politics of the thing to keep us from seeing what's happening. I'm sure it's very tempting in DC to get caught up in the politics. But I think, again, I feel like people in cities and in the country, whether you're on the coast or inland, you're having so many problems that you didn't used to have to deal with. Serious droughts that go on forever, and the fires in California. My father grew up in California. There was never anything like that going on year after year, season after season. So, I don't think you could get a louder wake-up call than what we're already getting. And I think as individuals, people in Congress must be aware that people are very concerned about it. Kids are certainly very concerned about it. And, this is too important to let it be a partisan issue that we don't even get to. The idea that the midterms are going to take importance over, having clean water to drink, having clean air to breathe, having enough food supply. When you see what's happening in the world and how many, diasporas are moving away from areas that are now being hit by climate change. People are moving out of areas that are now deserts because they can't have any kind of subsistence farming going on. it's happening. And I think the people in Congress, for the most part, are paying enough attention to what's going on in the world to understand that, you know, we can do both. You can have your quarrels and pick your leaders, but you also have to respect the earth we live on and how finite it is. So I'm hopeful. I think it's so easy to get discouraged and get caught up in all the noise. And I guess I feel like it's such an opportunity this year to do something like we are in the oceans. There's so much good happening, and who can disagree with the America the Beautiful initiative? We all love our country. We all know it's a beautiful country. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep it a safe, secure, clean, and healthy place for all of us. And I think that's something we can all agree on, regardless of where we're from or what we do, or where we stand in the political spectrum.
That's an excellent point. I really appreciate you taking the time out. Sigourney Weaver, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to Avatar 2, which will have a water theme, and I'm sure it'll have a sustainability type of message as well, and we look forward to that.
Indeed. So nice to be with you, Bob. Thanks so much.
Well, that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks again to Sigourney Weaver and to all of our terrific speakers for joining us. And of course, a huge thank you to the Environmental Defense Fund for its support, and to all of you for watching. For those of you who missed any of these conversations, you can see them this afternoon or from yesterday's sustainability sessions. You can see it on our website, thehill.com. It will be up there shortly. Thanks again for being with us today. I'm Bob Cusack. Be well.